I, 20-year-old male, lived with my father and stepmother, who was much younger. They got married approximately 10 years ago and had a 9-year-old daughter named Victoria. About a year ago, my father and stepmother tragically died in a car crash, leaving me and my sister with all the benefits and responsibilities. Thankfully, they had insurance. Everything was not as simple as it should have been. At this point, my sister had no official guardian, and underage children cannot make financial decisions regarding inheritances. This meant that we had a house, a car, a small loan, credit cards, but no legal rights to take any action regarding them. At this point, I was not prepared to handle everything immediately, as there was a funeral to organize with the assistance of our grandparents. Story. While driving back from the funeral, my sister was crying, and I assumed it was due to the obvious reasons. However, at one point she said, "I don't want to live with my grandparents," her mother's parents, and I was shocked by this new information. It turned out that her grandmother was already in the process of legally adopting my sister and had informed her about it. However, I did not want to lose my sister too, as our grandparents lived in another county. I also applied for guardianship of my sister, which angered her grandparents. My stepmother's parents never liked my father, me, or any relatives from our side of the family. I was prepared to lose as Child Protective Services sided with my sister's grandparents, stating, "The brother is just a school kid." Last week, I received the court's decision. This is a translated summary from my language. The court has decided to grant full parental rights to the brother because disrupting an already functioning family dynamic is not reasonable. The child in question already has a familiar routine, friends, school, and social life in their current home, and making a change would bring no benefits. The child does not need more significant upheaval in her life after experiencing such a significant loss. At the time of making the decision, the brother is already working a full-time job and earning enough to support the small family. The plaintiff's claim that attending trade school makes him less educated is not relevant. I was still in school when all this started and graduated last summer. I was offered a position in the company where I interned. The brother's age is also not relevant, as he is an adult in the eyes of the law. Tears welled up in my eyes as I read that. The judge did not consider any claims made against me and focused on the well-being of my sister. The judge even asked my sister what she wanted and respected her decision. Of course, all of this made me appear as a terrible person to my entire stepmother's side of the family. My phone won't stop ringing, and they claim that I did all this to gain complete control of the money, even though about 90% of it goes towards mortgage, credit cards, and other expenses. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Of course, all that caused me to be a giant jerk to the whole family from my stepmother's side. My phone is blowing up, and they claim I did it to receive full control of the money. Even though like 90% of it goes to mortgage, credit cards, etc., like they tried to. Not the idiot greed does not get rewarded for once. Comment 2. Not the idiot. I am surprised by how human the judge was. The kid is traumatized enough already. So why cause more stress? Also, the grandparents made a jerk move and started with the paperwork behind the back. Kids are not objects. I bet they also had an argument. We raised this number of kids. We know better. Now, for the update, thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since my last post. So the grandparents didn't take the court's decision lying down. They went behind my back and convinced my sister that I was unfit to be her guardian. They filled her head with lies, saying I was only after the insurance money. My sister, confused and hurt, started to believe them. She began acting out, refusing to talk to me, and even tried to run away to their place. It was a mess. I was working double shifts to keep us afloat, and coming home to an empty house because my sister was avoiding me, it was breaking my heart. I felt betrayed. The one person I was fighting for was turning against me. But I couldn't blame her. She was just a kid caught in the middle of a tug-of-war. Then one evening, I came home to find the house ransacked. The grandparents had taken my sister. They left a note saying they were going to file for emergency custody because I was neglecting her. Neglecting her after everything I'd done. I was furious and scared. I didn't know what to do. I called the police, but they said it was a family matter and they couldn't intervene without a court order. I felt so powerless. I had to get my sister back, but I didn't know how. I reached out to a lawyer and we prepared to fight back. But it was going to take time, and time was something I felt I didn't have. My sister was out there thinking I didn't care about her, and that was the worst part of it all. In the midst of this chaos, I got a call from my sister's school. She had shown up there alone, looking for me. She was crying, saying she made a mistake and wanted to come home. I rushed over, and when I saw her, all my anger melted away. She was just a scared little girl who needed her brother. I hugged her, and we both cried it out right there in the principal's office. We went home, and she told me everything. How the grandparents had promised her a better life, how they'd said I didn't want her, how they'd planned to take her away without telling me. It was a lot for a 9-year-old to handle. I reassured her that I was here for her, no matter what. But the fight wasn't over. The grandparents filed for emergency custody, and we were back in court. It was a circus. They accused me of all sorts of things, none of which were true, but I had to sit there and take it to appear calm for my sister's sake. The judge saw through their lies, thankfully. He dismissed their case and warned them about the consequences of their actions. My sister was officially mine to care for, and they were ordered to stay away from us. It should have felt like a victory, but it didn't. My sister was traumatized, and our relationship was strained. I felt weak and desperate, forgiving their unforgivable actions for the sake of peace. I had to be the bigger person for my sister. Just when I thought we could move on, another blow came. The company I worked for was downsizing, and I was laid off. The timing couldn't have been worse. I had a mortgage, bills, and a little girl depending on me. I started looking for work immediately, but nothing was coming up. I was at my wit's end. Then out of the blue, my old boss called. He'd heard about my situation and offered me a job. It was a step down, less pay, but it was something. I took it without hesitation. We're getting by, barely. It's not easy, but we're together, and that's what matters. My sister is slowly opening up again, and we're rebuilding our trust. It's going to be a long road, but we're walking it together. Thanks for reading. My sister steals from our mom and tries to play the victim, so I expose her lies and make sure she pays back every penny with interest and a public apology. I, 22-year-old female, have an older sister Joanne, 34-year-old female, and an older sister Frankie, 27-year-old female. Joanne and I have a pretty good relationship when it comes to money management and gift giving. Meanwhile, Frankie is not good at either of these. Out of the three of us, Frankie is the most argumentative one, and things can be tricky when she is involved. Our mom's birthday was in early February, and she was strongly hinting at the three of us getting together to buy something for her from her girls. We wanted to honor her request, but with Frankie's lengthy history of promising to chip in for something pricey and then bowing out at the last minute or begging someone else to pay her share, as well as her history with bad-mouthing any gifts that Joanne and I would get for family members. Joanne and I decided to jointly purchase a collection of an antique pink rose china set, which was around 300 pounds. I purchased the set, and Joanne sent me her half of the purchase when she could, and we sorted out individual cards and sweets to give alongside the set on the day. We showed our dad the set when it arrived, and he thought it was beautiful. He sheepishly agreed that Frankie wouldn't have held up her end of the bargain and that she would have to sort something else out for herself. The day comes and our mom opens her gift from Joanne and me. She's thrilled that the three of us banded together for once. We clarified that it was just from the two of us and that we didn't involve Frankie for the reasons mentioned above. Our mom was a bit bummed, but was glad that at least two of her children got together to get her something. Frankie piped up and asked why we left her out, and that she felt punished for being a single mom, which made no sense to us because Joanne is also a single mom with roughly the same salary as Frankie. We roughly reminded her of her history with gifts chipping in and left it at that since we didn't want to argue on Mom's birthday. Frankie had gotten our mom gifts that morning and once again made a comment about the useless china we got. Joanne and I just left it be since Frankie basically proved our point. Once everyone went home and Mom's birthday was done, she said she loved the gift set we got her and that we arranged it well, but that we could have at least given Frankie a say or an alternative role in our purchase if we couldn't rely on her financially. Joanne says we did the right thing, and that if Frankie wanted to be involved in gift plans in the future, then she needed to learn to be consistent, budget wisely, and not screw people over financially constantly. Our dad agrees with us, but has stayed out of it. I figured we did the right thing in the beginning, but now I'm kind of feeling like we could have come to a compromise that would have been less damning if it did go wrong. So, am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Frankie can buy her own gifts. To avoid drama in the future, do this. Talk to Joanne and then send a text to all of your siblings. The price is X dollars. Everybody's sending the money till 3rd February before you buy can join the gift. Make it upfront payment. That will make it. We invited her to join the gift. She chose not to. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your mom is the main problem. She wants her girls to do very special things for her, but only 2 of her girls are capable of this task. So she wants you and your sister to step up, shut up, and make her fantasy work. If she wanted to show appreciation for you and your sister's efforts, she would. She just wants the fantasy more. Now, for the update. Thank you for checking in. So things have been pretty tense since Mom's birthday. Frankie's been acting out more than usual, and it's been causing a lot of stress for everyone. Just last week, she borrowed Joanne's car without asking and ended up getting a parking ticket. She didn't tell Joanne about it, and now Joanne's got a fine to pay because it's overdue. Joanne's furious, and I can't blame her. Frankie just shrugged it off, saying she's got too much on her plate to deal with such trivial things. But that's not even the worst part. Frankie's been talking behind our backs, spreading rumors about Joanne and me to our relatives. She's been saying that we think we're better than her because we're more careful with our money. It's like she's trying to turn the family against us. It's so frustrating because we've always tried to be there for her, but she just keeps pushing us away. And then there was the incident at the grocery store. I ran into Aunt Linda, who was cold and distant. She finally admitted that Frankie told her we didn't want her at Mom's birthday dinner. That was a complete lie. We never said anything like that. It's like Frankie's trying to sabotage our relationships with the rest of the family. Joanne and I had a long talk about what to do. We decided to confront Frankie about everything. We invited her over for coffee, and it was tense from the start. When we brought up the car and the rumors, she just exploded. She accused us of ganging up on her and said we were trying to make her look bad. It was a mess. She stormed out, and now she's not talking to either of us. But here's the kicker. Yesterday, I found out that Frankie had been secretly taking money from Mom's purse. Mom's been struggling to make ends meet since her hours were cut back at work, and now this. When I told Joanne, she was heartbroken. We both were. We couldn't believe Frankie would stoop so low. We had to tell Mom. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Mom was devastated. She couldn't understand why Frankie would do such a thing. She's always been so forgiving of Frankie's mistakes, but this was too much. Mom said she needed time to think about how to handle the situation. In the meantime, Joanne and I have been trying to help Mom out financially. We've both chipped in to cover the money that Frankie took. It's put a strain on our own budgets, but we can't let Mom suffer because of Frankie's actions. It's been a rough couple of weeks. I never thought things would get this bad. I keep hoping Frankie will come around and realize the hurt she's causing. But I'm starting to lose faith. Joanne says we need to protect ourselves and Mom from any more of Frankie's drama. It's hard to accept that our sister could be the source of so much pain. Thank you for reading. My friend mocks my Christmas party over food choices and trashes my desserts. So I cut her out and made sure our mutual friends knew the truth about her pettiness. So I, female 28, have this friend, female 28, named Molly, who has many food restrictions. She is vegan, gluten-free, etc. I try to accommodate her when I can, but it's not always possible. I invited her to an annual Christmas party I host with a few of my friends. I usually have a cookie or cupcake decorating station. This year, I baked Rice Krispie treats to decorate. The recipe called for 2 packs of marshmallows, which was $2 each. I'd also like to mention that this is a potluck party. So the party commences and everyone brought a dish. Molly bought cookies and vegan spring rolls. Other people bought a mix of dishes that were vegan, vegetarian, and meat dishes. There was lots of different food for people to eat, and everyone, including Molly, had dinner. For the decorating station, we didn't all do it as a group activity. It was just kind of there and people could go to do it when they felt like it, or just mingle instead. Anyway, Molly seemed really upset that the Rice Krispie treats were not vegan. She made some snarky remarks to other people at the party that I heard about later. She could have decorated a cookie or something, but she kept making comments about not having a Rice Krispie she could eat. She complained to one friend that I could have bought vegan marshmallows, but I chose not to. And for context, I didn't know those existed. But I looked it up, and they're $7 a bag, comparatively, and I'd need 2 bags for the recipe, so TBH, I probably wouldn't buy it even if I knew about them. Molly started going through my fridge and freezer during the party to find something to eat for dessert. I feel at this point she felt she was owed a treat that she was deprived of. She pulled out a box of ice cream sandwiches and shouted across the room if she could have some. I said sure. Someone told me later that she opened the first one and it had freezer burn and she threw it out right away. Then she opened another one, tasted it, then said it tasted weird and threw it out too. The next day, I was feeling kind of off about everything and felt she was very resentful about the Rice Krispie treats. I texted her that it wasn't cool that she threw out 2 ice creams and that they weren't cheap. Also that I don't mind if she goes through my freezer any other time, but asked her not to do it at a party. What if everyone wanted one? There wouldn't be enough to go around. It's like 4 to a box and she tossed 2. She replied back with, then everyone wouldn't get one. The way everyone didn't get a Rice Krispie treat. Same energy. And then she sent me money for the ice creams, which I refused because it wasn't about that. Anyway, we haven't spoken since, and it's just weird now. So am I the idiot for not buying vegan marshmallows and for telling her off about the ice creams? Edit. People are asking about the ice creams since they're not vegan. I realize my error now. She has in the past told me she's vegan because it's easier to describe since there's nuances. But I know that she has exceptions. The gelatin in marshmallows is pork, so she won't eat that. But she'll make exceptions for cow's milk, I believe. But she won't eat egg. There's lots of but this except this, and it's hard to keep up, so she just says vegan to keep it simple. And that's what we've been calling her. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. Molly was a bad guest. As a guest, you are not entitled to anything. You gracefully accept or decline whatever is on offer. In a potluck situation, if you have special dietary restrictions and really want a dessert, you bring one that you can eat yourself. What you don't do is go raiding the fridge and the freezer, take what you like, and then discard it like a petulant child. That is just plain rude, and I wouldn't be sad not to see Molly as a guest again. Comment 2, vegan here, you're not the idiot. She was entitled and, quite frankly, mean. You don't need that in your life. Even I don't buy vegan marshmallows because of the cost. I just accept that there are some things I won't eat because it's my lifestyle choice. Now for the update, thanks for all the comments on my last post. So things have gone from bad to worse with Molly. After our text exchange, I thought we'd cool off and things would get back to normal. But nope, it's like she's on a mission to make my life miserable. So last week I found out she's been talking behind my back to our mutual friends. She's been saying that I'm inconsiderate and a bad friend because I didn't cater to her dietary needs. I mean, come on, it was a potluck. And she brought her own food too. But that's not even the worst part. Turns out Molly's been cozying up to my best friend, Sarah. They were never that close before, but now they're suddenly hanging out all the time. I didn't think much of it until Sarah canceled our weekly movie night, saying she was tired. I later saw on Instagram that she was out with Molly at some fancy vegan restaurant. I felt so betrayed. Sarah knew everything that happened at the Christmas party and how Molly had been acting. I confronted Sarah about it, and she just shrugged it off, saying she's allowed to hang out with whoever she wants. That's true, but it still hurt. It's like Molly's trying to turn my friends against me. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, Molly pulled a stunt that really crossed the line. She organized a dinner party and invited everyone from our friend group except me. I only found out because one of our friends, who didn't know about the tension between us, mentioned it to me, thinking I was going too. I was so angry and upset. I couldn't believe Molly would go this far just to get back at me over some Rice Krispie treats. It's like she's trying to isolate me from our friends. I've been feeling so alone and confused about why she's acting this way. But here's the kicker. I found out from another friend that Molly's been spreading rumors about me. She's been telling people that I'm a terrible host and that I purposely exclude her because I don't agree with her lifestyle. That's not true at all. I've always tried to be accommodating, but I can't cater to everyone's needs all the time. I decided to talk to Molly about it. I wanted to clear the air and find out why she's been acting this way. But when I called her, she just went off on me, saying that I've never been a good friend to her and that I don't respect her choices. She even brought up stuff from years ago that I thought we'd moved past. I was so shocked. I had no idea she felt this way. And to think all this started because of some marshmallows. It's like I don't even know her anymore. After that call, I realized that maybe our friendship wasn't as strong as I thought. It's sad, but I can't keep trying to fix things if she's not willing to meet me halfway. I've decided to focus on my other friendships and try to move on from this whole mess. So that's the update. It's been a tough week, but I'm trying to stay positive. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.